And we're back with WSJ Lunch Break. I'm Wendy Bounds. Well, you do not have to be a superhero to wear a cape. At least that is what designers are hoping. Earlier, I spoke to Ray Smith. He's one of our fashion columnists here, as well as Colleen Sherin. She is Saks Fifth Avenue's senior fashion director. Let's hear what they had to say.
We've got a bunch of capes to show people. Ray, why has the cape made a comeback this year? Have we seen celebrities wearing them? Have we seen, what is making them back in popular culture?
Sure. A big moment was we saw Gwyneth Paltrow at the Oscars in a Tom Ford evening ensemble with a cape, and that sort of got on everybody's radar. She got rave reviews for that look. Tom Ford got rave reviews for that look. And since then, for fall, we saw capes come back in a big way, and it follows a trend in sort of big statement overcoats that was from the previous fall. And so we're seeing it on the high-end runways as well as at Ann Taylor, for instance.
You've got a couple of them there. Let's hold each of those up.
And so we're seeing it at different price points for different audiences and for different occasions. The Gwyneth Paltrow cape was an evening cape, but there are outerwear capes. Some are capelets. Right. Some are long evening capes that you would wear like for going out, dressy, but some are even more casual as well.
And this one, Colleen, this one I'm holding is a Vince cape that came from you. Very sort of basic black, came from Saks Fifth Avenue. So what kind of a bet are you all making on capes in terms of who you think is going to buy them and how much you're stocking them for the fall?
Yeah, we love the cape for fall. We have capes of all shapes and sizes. Some are accessory pieces, some are actual outerwear pieces. And they're just great layering pieces. They're kind of the perfect item to go to when the weather changes. It's becoming a bit more chilly. Like I said, a great layering piece for the transition in the weather. And really, it's a very democratic item because it fits women of all shapes and sizes. And it's not just for a very petite or thin woman. That's
a really good point. I'm going to get you to give us a few tips on dressing in a moment for capes. But Ray, historically, when has the cape been popular?
Throughout the 20th century, actually, if you look at some, especially old Hollywood, capes were worn sort of, again, as part of an evening ensemble. So Gwyneth Paltrow was almost like an homage to that sort of, if you watch the last scene in All About Eve, when she's trying on her model's cape, that's a perfect example of when capes were worn, sort of back then during the 20th century. Before that, though, they were more like cloaks, and they were practical for warmth, but also some of it was to symbolize hierarchy in terms of where you were in society as well.
That's fascinating. Is the pricing roughly the same with capes just in regular coats?
The pricing is roughly the same, and in fact, that's a good point because they're seen as almost an alternative to a coat, and as Colleen was saying, as a layering alternative. So in some cases, they can be less expensive because they're not as heavy as a coat.
And Colleen, you mentioned such a good point that they're good for all body types. Now, what should we be wearing underneath a cape, depending on what our body shape is?
Yeah, depending on how dressy. The Vince one is certainly a more casual cape, and you want to pay attention especially to the proportion, because with a cape you will have more volume on top. So I think it always looks best with something that's a bit more narrow on the bottom. So whether it's a slim trouser or if it's an evening cape, a long sort of column gown, I think that's a great look and a really nice proportion.
And some people wonder if you don't always have to put them on over your head. Some of them you can just slip on.
Some just, can be thrown over, some wrap, some zip front, button front.
And this one is sort of, this one has a hood and it has sleeves. This actually belongs to our makeup artist, Maria. She's going to let me try it on. So this is sort of
shape.
Cape sort of shape, silhouette.
Cape-like silhouette, I would say.
And I like it because it actually has the arms to keep it on.
It has the arms, exactly. Not all of them do, but this particular one does, almost like a dolman sleeve, but it really has that rounded cape kind of swing shape, which is really flattering.
It's getting toasty here in the studio. I'm good. I think I'm good to go, you guys. Let's go somewhere else beside here. Let's go to lunch.
So too.
All right. Thanks, you guys, for being with us. We'll be right back.